Hey everyone, it's Wilco here, and you've got Ultra Super Mega for another video. Thanks for dropping by our YouTube channel. This is a Ghost Recon Wildlands closed beta impressions video, so it just wraps up what I thought about the game out of closed beta. We've got open beta coming up soon, so hopefully they improve some things before we go into the final game on the 7th of March. So overall I'm happy with the game. I'm getting it on PS4 and PC when it launches, just purely because I have friends on both that I want to be playing with, and I'll be probably spending a fair bit of time on it, and the beta didn't change my thoughts on that. Overall it's a really fun game. So the bad parts of the game are definitely the AI. Not happy with how they react to situations. They pretty much just go and hide or actively seek you out. There's no flanking, there's no hiding and using tactical measures to try and take you out. They just pretty much stay where they are and go back and forth, and there's just not much there. So hopefully they can, especially with the difficulty of the game, which is something I'll pop into next, they could definitely fix a lot of the difficulty issues by improving the AI and how they move around and use them a bit more tactically. But hopefully they work on that. They've done some stuff in the Division just recently where instead of increasing the strength of the AI, they're actually improving their tactics. So we'll see if they can somehow get that algorithm over into Wildlands at some stage, which will help it out. But yeah, the difficulty is very easy so far. It's only the first province, so look, it definitely will get harder, but for what we played, at no stage were we challenged. So even co-op and in single, there's just not much there. The difficulties, as you put them up, didn't really seem to change a lot. Made you a little bit less bullet spongy. Didn't really change the things that needed to change, like the reaction time of the AI, so you still have plenty of time to get out of the way. Sort of changes the distance that they seem to pick you up in, but nothing overall that was major. So look, like I said, they can fix the AI up and that could improve things. They can also shorten the time that it takes for an AI to see you and then actually actively attack you. So those couple of things could fix up the difficulty as well. They did claim it was one-shot kills at some stage towards before closed beta, but that's definitely not the case on the hardest level. So we played the whole game on the second hardest level, and from what we've heard, the hardest is not much better. So look, it's hopefully they fix that before they launch, but we'll see how we go. The cars in the game, the one instance I remember is the fact that it took 1,000,000 bullets just to take out a Lamborghini with a captain in it. It just wasn't realistic. So these cars seem to take a lot of damage, but at some stages they don't. So it's a little bit hit and miss, but when the enemy cars just really do take a punishing, and that needs to be changed a little bit, unfortunately. But for now, that's what we've got, so that's what we're going to deal with. They're just bullet spongy. So the world's alive, which is a good thing, but it's just not alive. So what I mean is, the rebels, you can take over an outpost and the rebels take it over, but then you go past there 10 minutes later and the son of Blanca's taken it back, but there's no warning about that, there's no fight, there's nothing, it's just they're there. It would be really nice to see some kind of a mechanic where it lets you know that the son of Blanca's trying to retake a base or retake an outpost. It just seems to be once you've gone away, it loses the memory that you've taken over that base, and it respawns enemies there and removes the rebels again. So some kind of persistence to the world would be, look, it'd be really handy, especially with the game that they're trying to make, where you're trying to learn things and take out the overall boss. Some kind of persistence would be really handy. I understand that it's such a large map, maybe it's pretty hard to do, but at this early stage of the game, it doesn't seem like it's going to be an option in the game. Multi-saves, I haven't seen anything on this. I haven't seen where you can have multiple characters or multiple saves. There wasn't any in beta, which I found that fairly hard to believe. But like in the Division, you can have multiple characters. You have 4 characters, so you can have different playthroughs and things like that. I want to play the game in solo, and I want to play the game in co-op, and I don't want those 2 save files to be the same. So I would really enjoy it if Ubisoft would put in multiple save options or multiple characters. So even then we could have, we want to do some funny videos with our group that we play with on PC, but we can't do that with the characters that we want to make for ourselves and play through the game properly. So look, it would be really handy if we could get multiple saves in there. I would love it if that happens. So if it is, it might already be in there, but they're not showing that yet, so we'll wait and see. Lining up for things in co-op just doesn't make sense to me. I mentioned this on the podcast when we did our impressions on there. Hopefully this is something that they can fix up with adding a distance variable to when you tag a supply. Anyone in a vicinity will actually have that done on their map as well, so you don't have to all go and do each one individually. It became really repetitive and tedious when we all had to line up and do the one gasoline barrel or the one health stash. It was just a little bit of a nightmare. So if one person did it and anyone within 200 meters of them got that in co-op, it would just save a lot of hassle and a lot of time, a lot of frustration. The death penalty, I've done a video on this. It doesn't make sense to me. You get rewarded for dying is the way I see it. If you die, your squad mates will clear the area and then revive you. I've seen multiple videos and I've seen multiple occasions in my own game where that's meant you've finished the mission because you've died. It just doesn't make sense. I understand if you die twice, that's the end of it, but look, it hasn't shown that in the early stages of this game that's something that happens fairly often. If you make a mistake in this game, it's not the be all and end all, which especially on the hardest level it should be. If you make a mistake, that should cost you the mission, but look, at this stage that's not the case. Now the last thing is, I know there's got to be some polish put on the game between now and launch, and I know we were playing a build that wasn't quite up the standard of where they're at the moment. But there's just some strange things that happened in the game. They need to fix this before launch. Things where in co-op people were outside of vehicles, even in single player guns weren't in people's hands. People in cars that were blown up were all of a sudden walking next to the car. There's just like mortar shells that come from random areas. It just doesn't look, it takes you out of the immersion of the game. So if we're playing a game and we're trying to get entrenched in this game and really enjoy it for what it is, when you see strange things like this happen, it just reminds you that you're playing a game, which is something we don't want. Some of the things with the helicopters, bouncing them off the ground 3 or 4 times, should be a mechanic that once you're near the ground and you press down, it lands, rather than you going down so hard, because the down motion on the helicopter's 5 times stronger than the up motion. Look, it just, like I said, takes you out of the immersion of the game, which I really don't like. Well, let's get on to some good things about the game. There's always something to do in the game. So like I said before, AI is always repopulating, and look, this on the upside means that whenever you go past an area, there's always enemies to fight. We were never short. Even once we finished the game, there was always some enemy that we could go have fun taking out. Unidad patrols were always around, so we could always take on them. There was always some kind of a side mission popping up for us, so that side of the game was really good. The fact that they really did fill up this environment with a lot of things to do. So there was even a point where I found a random car explosion off in the distance. I went and investigated that myself, wasn't on the map, didn't prompt me to do that, and there were supplies there for me to tag, which was really good to see. So look, more things like that in the game will really stretch out the longevity of this game, so rather enjoying that. Co-op was really fun, I must admit. I was up till 2 AM playing co-op on the first night and had a ball the whole way through. Just playing with your mates in this game is absolutely amazing. So the sync shot, while really good in single player, is massively OP, but it really does bring on that tactical part of the game, which they're really known for. So if you can get the sync shot going, you can clear up bases with ease, and really does make you feel like a true Ghost. So look, it is really good, it is OP. Hopefully that negates itself as we get further through the game, and it's only that first area where it feels OP. The open missions are really good. The fact that we've got 4 major players to take out. Once you take out 3 of those 4, you get the head boss. That's the only thing we're tasked to do. So we can do anything in any order. Look, you've got to follow. We had 6 missions in the closed beta to clear on to the next province. But even those 6 missions, we could do them however we want, even to the point of where we turned up to the base or the outpost. We could really take that on however we wanted to, and I love that part of this game, and it really will make this game last for a long time. The replayability of this is really good. Like, we replayed missions over and over again on that first night, and then I did it again over the weekend, so it is really good. The vehicles, I'm enjoying how easy they are to travel with. Probably a little bit too easy, but it takes the focus away from the driving and it puts it more on the shooting. So if you kept on dying in vehicles, I could see it being very frustrating for the wrong reasons, because you're there to play a shooting game and the driving's just to get you from A to B, get you to the next mission, the next person to kill. So I personally enjoyed it. I hear a lot of people saying they didn't, but look, leave it the way it is, because I don't want to be frustrated because I crashed a car on the way to the next mission. It'll take it out the fun out of the game. Speaking of that, the game is far more arcade than it is serious, which is really good. I was afraid we're going to get something along the lines of Armor or something like that, where you really were punished for not playing the game the way they wanted you to play it. In this, you can really make a few mistakes, and like I mentioned, with the death penalty was a problem. Everything else in the game wasn't. So look, the helicopters were arcadey, the shooting was arcadey, all that kind of stuff. It just felt forgiving, where it could have been really the other way, and it would have got very frustrating very quickly for a lot of people that weren't hardcore players. So I'm glad they've gone that way. Look, the size of the game will be the last thing I touch on. It's the map we've got for the closed beta was huge, absolutely huge, and what you can see in the distance when you're up in the helicopters, which you could go up a long way in those helicopters, but it's just going to go on and on. It's going to give you so much area to play in, and even in co-op you can go off from your mates and you can play on a whole different part of the map to what they are. It's just going to be crazy. I'm really looking forward to seeing all the little Easter eggs they hide around this map, and just all the different things you can do in this map. So the size of this map, they've promised it to be the biggest one they've ever made, and it truly is, and it will be truly amazing. So I can't wait to get into it. So overall, game will launch on the 7th of March. Between now and then, we've got an open beta. Hopefully they fix up a few things, and hopefully by launch they really polish up this game and launch the Ghost Recon Wildlands games that we all really want. So thank you for listening, guys. Sorry it went on for a bit there. We've got a fair bit of stuff to carry. If you like the video, then like, share, subscribe. Hang around for some more Ghost Recon videos. We've got a lot coming out, especially after launch. So keep it tuned here, and thank you again, everyone. See ya. Bye.